In life, one of the most important truths you must embrace is this: your growth is your responsibility. Too many people spend their lives waiting for someone else to push them, encourage them, or hand them opportunities on a silver platter. But the harsh reality is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to care about your dreams as much as you do, and no one will put in the work for you. Growth is a personal journey, and the moment you understand that it is your responsibility, you unlock the first step to greatness. Think about it. We live in a world full of distractions, opinions on social media, friends who don't always understand our goals, family who may expect us to follow a path different from our own. And yet, amidst all of this noise, there is one thing that remains constant: you. Your choices, your habits, your effort, your mindset. These are the things that will shape your future. Nobody else can wake up for you. Nobody else can study for you. Nobody else can grind for you. Success is a personal responsibility, and if you don't take it seriously, life will pass you by. It is easy to blame others when we fall short. We say, I didn't succeed because my parents didn't support me, or I failed because my boss didn't believe in me, or I couldn't grow because people didn't give me a chance. But let's be honest. Excuses don't create results. They only create comfort. And while excuses may make you feel better in the moment, they rob you of the power to change your situation. The truth is, there are people out there who had no support, no resources, and no encouragement, yet they still rose above the odds because they took ownership of their lives. If they could do it, why can't you? When you take responsibility for your growth, you stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You stop waiting for someone to hand you permission. You realize that growth is not something given, it's something earned. Every book you read, every hour you spend practicing, every challenge you endure, every sacrifice you make adds up to your progress. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen by chance. It happens because you made a choice to take control and do the work day after day, even when no one is watching. And that's another important part of growth. It's not glamorous. People love to see success, but they don't see the lonely hours behind it. They admire the results, but ignore the struggle. That is why your growth must be self-driven, because often no one will applaud you in the beginning. You must be willing to clap for yourself even when no one else does. You must have the courage to keep pushing even when the world is silent. Growth also requires accountability. Too often, people set goals but fail to follow through because they don't hold themselves accountable. They give up at the first obstacle, or they delay their efforts with the excuse that tomorrow will be better. But the person who truly grows is the one who looks in the mirror and says, if I fail, it's on me. If I succeed, it's on me. No one else is responsible. That mindset builds strength, resilience, and discipline. When you stop relying on others to push you, you become unstoppable. Now let's address another truth. Growth is uncomfortable. It requires you to leave your comfort zone, to challenge old habits, and to embrace change. Many people avoid this because comfort feels safe. But safe does not equal successful. If you want to grow, you must be willing to be uncomfortable. You must be willing to fail, to stumble, and to learn. Every setback is a lesson, and every mistake is a stepping stone. When you own your growth, you see failure not as defeat, but as feedback. That is the difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck. So how do you make growth your responsibility? You begin with daily action. Start small, but be consistent. Read for 20 minutes a day. Practice your craft for an hour. Work on your health, your mindset, your discipline. Stop waiting for motivation. It may never come. Instead, rely on discipline, because discipline will carry you when motivation disappears. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, but never depend on them to carry you. Build routines that strengthen your habits. And when you fall short, don't hide behind excuses. Take ownership, adjust, and move forward. The beauty of taking responsibility for your growth is that it gives you freedom. You are no longer tied to other people's opinions or decisions. You are not waiting for opportunities. You are creating them. You are not blaming the world. You are building yourself. And when you build yourself, you build a future that is unshakable because it rests on the foundation of your own effort. Remember this: life will test you, people will doubt you, and circumstances will challenge you. But at the end of the day, your growth is in your hands, no one else's. Take ownership, be relentless, and refuse to let anyone else write your story for you. Your growth is your responsibility. Treat it like the greatest investment you will ever make. There is a powerful truth that many people overlook in their journey towards success. Silence protects your vision. We live in a society where everyone is constantly talking, sharing, and broadcasting their every move. Social media has made it easy to announce our plans before they even take shape. But what we don't realize is that sometimes the more we talk about our vision, the more vulnerable it becomes. Not everyone will understand your dreams. Not everyone will support them, and some people will even work against them. That is why silence is such a shield. It keeps your goals safe from negativity, doubt, and distraction. When you have a vision, it is like a seed planted in the soil. In its early stages, it is fragile. It needs protection, nourishment, and time to grow roots before it can break through the ground. If you expose it too early, it risks being trampled on or destroyed. In the same way, when you share your vision prematurely, it can be damaged by criticism, skepticism, or even envy. People may tell you it is impossible, they may laugh at you, or they may discourage you because they cannot see what you see. That is why silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is understanding that your dream is not yet ready for the spotlight. Silence also gives you focus. When you stop talking about what you're going to do and start actually doing it, your energy shifts from words to action. Words are easy. Action is hard. Many people announce big plans but never follow through because talking gave them the illusion of progress. But silence keeps you grounded. It reminds you that the world doesn't need to hear your intentions. The world needs to see your results. And when you protect your vision with silence, you free yourself from the burden of constantly seeking approval. You no longer need validation from others because you know your vision is valid, even if no one else believes in it. But let's be real. Silence is difficult. It feels natural to want to share your excitement, to tell people what you're working on, to seek encouragement. And while there is nothing wrong with sharing with those who truly support you, the truth is, not everyone you tell will be on your side. Some people may secretly hope you fail. Others may unintentionally plant seeds of doubt in your mind. And the worst part, sometimes their doubts become your doubts. You start questioning yourself, wondering if maybe they are right. That is how visions die. Not because they were impossible, but because they were exposed to the wrong voices too soon. When you learn the power of silence, you begin to build strength within yourself. You no longer rely on constant applause to keep going. You learn to clap for yourself in private. You learn to trust your own instincts, your own discipline, and your own faith in your vision. Silence builds inner confidence, the kind that doesn't need to be advertised. It is a quiet fire that fuels you when no one else is watching. Another truth about silence is that it prevents distractions. The moment you announce your goals, people will start giving you their opinions. They will tell you what you should do differently, how they would approach it, or why it may not work. Even if they mean well, too many voices can cloud your clarity. Silence keeps your path clean. It allows you to walk forward without being pulled in 100 different directions by other people's perspectives. It gives you the mental space to focus on execution, not explanation. And let's not forget, silence also makes success sweeter. There is nothing more powerful than surprising people with results they never expected. When you keep your vision private and let your work speak, the impact is greater. People don't see your struggles, your sleepless nights, or your sacrifices. They only see the breakthrough. And because they didn't hear the buildup, the results shock them. That shock is powerful, and it is far more satisfying than trying to convince people with words. Understand this. You don't need to prove your vision to anyone. The world doesn't need your promises. It needs your proof. and proof only comes through results. Silence gives you the room to work, to fail, to learn, and to grow without the pressure of the crowd. It allows you to build in peace so you can shine in power. Think of some of the greatest achievers in history. They didn't spend their lives talking about what they would do. They quietly worked until their success became undeniable. They understood that every word spoken is energy released and that energy is better invested in action. Silence is not hiding, silence is strategizing. It is preserving your dream until it is strong enough to face the world. So the next time you feel the urge to announce your every move, pause and remind yourself, silence protects your vision. Keep your goals private, keep your discipline steady, and keep your faith unshakable. Let people wonder what you're up to. Let them doubt, let them guess, let them underestimate you. And when the time is right, let your results speak for you, because at the end of the day, people forget what you said, but they can never ignore what you built. Your silence is not emptiness. It is power. It is your shield, your focus, and your advantage. Protect your vision, stay silent, and let the noise come only from your success. One of the biggest mistakes people make on the journey of growth is falling into the trap of comparison. Comparison is like poison. It seeps into your mind, eats away at your confidence, and convinces you that who you are and what you have is not enough. It makes you feel like you're behind, like you're inadequate, like you're losing a race you never even signed up for. And yet so many people measure their worth against others without realizing that comparison is silently destroying their peace and their progress. Every time you look at someone else's life and tell yourself they are doing better than you, you shrink your own power. You rob yourself of the joy of your journey. You forget that every person's path is different, every person's timeline is unique, and every person's struggles are hidden behind the surface. We see the highlights of people's lives, but we don't see the sacrifices, the failures, the tears, and the battles they faced behind closed doors. When you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, you will always feel like you are losing. That's why comparison kills confidence, because it is based on illusions, not truth. The danger of comparison is that it shifts your focus away from yourself and onto others. Instead of asking, am I better than I was yesterday? You start asking, am I better than them? And when that becomes your mindset, you stop growing for yourself and start competing for validation. You make choices not because they are right for you, but because you want to keep up with someone else. And that is how people lose themselves. They abandon their own calling to chase someone else's path. The truth is, confidence is built when you measure yourself against yourself. Confidence grows when you look back and see how far you have come. It grows when you realize that you are no longer the person you used to be. Maybe you're not at your destination yet, but you are further than you were yesterday. That is progress, and progress is something to be proud of. When you focus on your own journey, your own growth, and your own pace, you will find confidence that cannot be shaken by someone else's success. Let's be honest. Comparison also creates jealousy. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you start resenting their wins instead of celebrating them. And when jealousy takes over, it clouds your spirit. It makes you bitter instead of better. It makes you ask, why not me? Instead of asking, what can I learn? And as long as jealousy lives inside you, growth will be limited. You cannot build your best life while secretly wishing someone else would lose theirs. That is why focusing on yourself is so important. It frees you from the negativity of comparison and allows you to channel your energy into becoming the best version of you. Another thing about comparison is that it creates unnecessary pressure. You start rushing, trying to achieve milestones before you're ready just so you can keep up with others. But rushing leads to mistakes, burnout, and disappointment. Everyone has a different clock. Some people succeed in their 20s, others in their 40s. Some people find love early, others later. Some build wealth quickly, others slowly. The timing does not matter as long as you don't quit. Comparison will make you feel late, but the truth is you are right on time for your own journey. When you let go of comparison, you unlock freedom. Freedom to move at your own pace, to embrace your own story, and to celebrate your own wins without guilt. You stop worrying about what people think and start focusing on what truly matters to you. You realize that life is not a race, it is a personal journey. The only question that matters is not, am I ahead of others, but am I ahead of who I used to be? That is the question that fuels real growth. So how do you stop comparing yourself? You practice gratitude. Instead of looking at what you don't have, look at what you do have. Gratitude shifts your perspective and reminds you that your life is full of blessings you may be overlooking. You also remind yourself of your uniqueness. There is no one else on this earth with your exact combination of experiences, talents, and dreams. That means your path cannot be compared to anyone else's. It was designed only for you. Finally, you build habits of self-reflection. Track your progress, celebrate your small wins, and focus on your growth. The more you appreciate your own journey, the less you care about anyone else's. Remember this, comparison is the thief of joy. It steals your confidence, your peace, and your purpose. But when you focus on yourself, you take back that power. You stop chasing other people's shadows and start shining your own light. You stop competing with the world and start competing with the only person that truly matters, yourself. At the end of the day, confidence is not about being better than others. It is about being better than you used to be. And when you adopt that mindset, you can walk your path with pride, without fear, without envy, and without doubt. Because you will know that you are exactly where you need to be, becoming exactly who you are meant to be. So don't let comparison kill your confidence. Protect your peace, focus on your growth, and remember the only race you are running is against the person in the mirror. In today's world, one of the greatest challenges to success is not a lack of talent or opportunity. It is distraction. Everywhere you look, something is fighting for your attention. Your phone buzzes, social media calls, gossip circulates, and entertainment is only a click away. And while none of these things are bad in small doses, the problem is that most people allow distractions to dominate their lives. They sacrifice their future for temporary pleasure, trading hours of productivity for moments of comfort. That is why discipline is more important now than ever before. Discipline is the shield that protects your focus, the force that keeps you moving toward your goals, and the key that separates the dreamers from the doers. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It doesn't get applause, and it doesn't always feel good, but it works. Discipline is waking up when you don't feel like it. Discipline is choosing to read instead of scrolling endlessly. Discipline is putting in the work even when no one is watching. It is not about motivation because motivation fades. Discipline is about consistency, and consistency creates results. The problem with distraction is that it feels easier. It feels good to binge watch shows instead of working on your craft. It feels good to scroll through feeds instead of studying. It feels good to gossip about others instead of investing in yourself. But here's the truth. Every time you choose distraction, you delay your own growth. Distractions steal time, and time is the one resource you can never get back. You can regain money, opportunities, even health, but you will never regain wasted hours. That is why discipline must become your priority. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it feels difficult to resist distraction. You may fail, you may give in, and you may stumble, but every time you choose discipline, you gain strength. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes natural. And that is when you truly begin to rise above the crowd. Because most people never make it that far. Most people remain slaves to distraction their entire lives, never realizing that the key to freedom is self-control. There will always be something competing for your attention. There will always be another notification, another show, another trend, another excuse. But discipline is the ability to say no to what does not serve your future. It is the ability to cut through the noise and focus on what truly matters. And once you learn this skill, you will find that you are capable of achieving far more than you ever imagined. Discipline also creates peace of mind. Many people believe that discipline is restrictive, that it limits your freedom, but the opposite is true. Discipline creates freedom because it frees you from regret. When you are disciplined, you don't lie awake at night wishing you had done more. You don't live with the guilt of wasted time. Instead, you live with the satisfaction that you gave your best, even if the results have not yet shown. That peace is priceless, and it only comes from discipline. Another truth is that discipline separates the average from the exceptional. Talent can only take you so far, motivation can only carry you for a while, but discipline will sustain you when talent fails and motivation disappears. Look at any great achiever in history. They were not always the most talented, but they were almost always the most disciplined. They chose the long road over shortcuts, the hard work over comfort, the daily grind over instant gratification. And because of that, they built legacies that lasted long after motivation faded. To build discipline, you must start with small steps. Wake up at the time you promised yourself. Stick to the schedule you created. Set boundaries with your distractions. Don't try to conquer everything at once. Master one habit at a time. And as you build discipline in one area, it will spill over into others. The person who learns to control their mornings eventually learns to control their life. But let me be honest, discipline is not easy. There will be days when you want to quit, days when distractions look more appealing, days when you question whether the sacrifice is worth it. In those moments, you must remember why you started. You must remind yourself of your vision, your goals, your future. Because the truth is, discipline is not punishment. It is an investment. Every disciplined action you take today is an investment in the person you will become tomorrow. Think about the difference between the distracted and the disciplined. The distracted person wakes up years later wondering where the time went, wishing they had done more, regretting the chances they wasted. The disciplined person wakes up with pride, knowing they built something with their time, knowing they made progress, knowing they lived with purpose. Which one do you want to be? Discipline over distraction. That is the choice you must make daily. Distraction will offer you comfort now, but pain later. Discipline will give you discomfort now, but power later. One path leads to regret, the other to success. And the decision is always yours. So don't let distraction rob you of your potential. Train your mind, strengthen your habits, and protect your focus. Choose discipline even when it feels hard, because the rewards will always outweigh the struggle. In the end, your future will not be shaped by the distractions you entertained. It will be shaped by the discipline you embraced. There is something incredibly powerful about working in silence. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, where people rush to announce their every move, where attention is treated like a currency, there is strength in choosing to keep your head down and focus on the work. Silent work is not about hiding. It is about discipline. It is about understanding that greatness is not built in the spotlight, but in the shadows, away from applause, away from distractions, and away from unnecessary noise. When you choose silent work, you are building the foundation of success that will one day be too loud to ignore. Think about nature for a moment. A seed does not make noise as it grows beneath the soil. The roots spread quietly, hidden from the world. But when the time is right, it breaks through the surface and grows into something strong, visible, and undeniable. That is the same way success works. The silent period is necessary. It is where the learning happens, where the discipline is tested, where the sacrifices are made. And even though the world may not see your effort now, the results will eventually speak so loudly that no one will be able to deny them. The problem is that many people confuse talking with doing. They believe that by announcing their goals, they are moving closer to them. But words without action mean nothing. Silent work shifts the energy away from talking and places it back on execution. When you work quietly, you free yourself from the pressure of living up to public expectations. You are no longer concerned about who is watching or who is judging. You are only concerned about one thing: progress. And progress, no matter how small, compounds over time until it becomes impossible to ignore. Silent work also protects you from negativity. The more you talk about your dreams, the more vulnerable you make them to doubt, criticism, and envy. Some people will question you, others will laugh, and some may even hope you fail. But when you choose to work silently, you eliminate that noise. You remove the unnecessary opinions and keep your vision safe until it is strong enough to stand on its own. Silence is your shield, your strategy, and your advantage. But here's the beauty of it. Results make noise. Loud results don't need explanations, they don't need defending, and they don't need validation. Results are undeniable. When you achieve something remarkable, when you transform your life, when you succeed against the odds, people will see it without you saying a word. Your work will speak for you, and it will speak louder than any promise, announcement, or declaration ever could. There is a certain satisfaction in surprising people with results they never expected. While others were busy watching, talking, or doubting, you were building. And when the moment comes to reveal what you have accomplished, the impact is far greater than if you had been shouting about it from the beginning. Silent work gives you the element of surprise, and surprise creates power. This does not mean you should never share your journey. It means you should understand timing. Share your results, not your intentions. Share your victories, not your plans. Let people see the fruits, not the planting. Because plans can be doubted, but results cannot. Silent work also builds character. It teaches you patience, resilience, and humility. When you are not chasing attention, you learn to fall in love with the process instead of the praise. You learn to value consistency over recognition. And in the long run, that mindset will take you further than any amount of external validation. Because success is not about being noticed, it is about being effective. And effectiveness comes from focus, and focus comes from silence. There will be times when you feel unseen, when your effort seems invisible, when you wonder if the sacrifices are worth it. But those are the moments when you must remind yourself that the seed cannot stay underground forever. If you keep watering it, nurturing it, and protecting it, it will eventually break through the surface. Silent seasons are not wasted seasons, they are preparation. They are the foundation of your breakthrough. The truth is, the world rewards results. You can talk all day about what you plan to do, but at the end of the day, no one remembers promises, they remember outcomes. No one respects words as much as they respect results. Silent work ensures that when you finally step into the light, you have something real to show. And that reality will echo louder than any speech you could have given. So keep working. Keep grinding when no one notices. Keep pushing when no one claps. Keep believing when no one else understands. Don't get discouraged if people underestimate you. That's exactly what you want. Let them think you are ordinary while you prepare to do something extraordinary. Let them doubt while you build. And when your results finally arrive, let them be so loud, so undeniable that even your silence speaks volumes. Silent work, loud results, that is the formula. That is the mindset that will take you further than empty words ever could. Because in the end, success is not about telling the world what you're going to do. It's about showing the world what you've already done.